I want to thank first the member of Touro Law School's clinic, led by Dean Salkin, who is right here, and Benjamin Rajotte. Where's Ben? There he is. No, you snuck up. Okay. Did I say your name right?
Correct.
Rajotte and his team for helping Sandy victims out. I want to say this is what law school is all about. Helping people who need help. And we have a whole bunch of people from the clinic. Raise your hands. Very nice people over there. Thank you very, very much. Okay. I also want to thank some of our homeowners who are victims here, and they represent tens of thousands of victims as well. And we have Anna DeMauro right here. We have Rena Bond right here. She's our host. This is her property, shall we say. And Bill Walters of Babylon, who's a firefighter from Woodside. Thank you. Okay. And he lives in Babylon. Now, Rena and Anna and their families, as well as Bill, were shortchanged by flood insurance companies. And as a result, they've been living in trailers on their property after Sandy, right back there. And today, we're here to talk about an issue. It's a little bit complicated, but it's really important, because flood insurance and FEMA are putting these people and tens of thousands of like them in a catch-22. What is the catch-22? Well, first let's go over what flood insurance is. As you know, flood insurance is federally insured insurance because private insurance won't do flood insurance. After all the hurricanes in Miami and Katrina, the private industry exited from flood insurance, and so the federal government insures people against floods. But they don't do the insuring themselves. They go to private companies, but they set the rules. And we have a real beef with one of the rules. Here's what it says. It says that there's a deadline in terms of protesting what your insurance company is giving you before you know how much they're going to give you. Can you believe that? Let me say that again. I did it better than my staff did. They don't have that in here. They have a much more complicated language. The federal government is allowing private insurance companies to put these folks in a catch-22 because it says the deadline for protesting what your insurance company does comes before often you know how much they're going to give you. So let me explain that now in a more complicated way. If your house was damaged and you're still negotiating with your insurance company over how much they owe you for flood insurance, and that's about 30% of the 60,000 people who have filed claims. So you can figure it out. That's about 20,000 people here on Long Island. It matters to you. We're approaching the 1-year anniversary of Sandy, but we're also approaching another serious deadline. When, if you have to, you can take your insurance company to court or to protest because they're not giving you enough. No one wants to do that. It's much better to resolve things outside of court. But once an insurance company knows you can't sue them, they take advantage of it. So even if you don't go to court, the fact that they know you can go to court gives these nice people some bargaining power against their insurance company. But here's what FEMA has said. They say that the deadline is 1 year from the time you first talk to your insurance company. Okay? They say, even though you still may be negotiating with your insurance company right now, when it comes to preserving a homeowner's right to take action in court to get paid by his or her insurance company, the FEMA's current policy that the clock is set at the first denial of claim instead of the final denial. So you come in, you say, you're only giving me $40,000, I had $200,000 of damage. And they can delay you for a year and then you can't sue them. That's what insurance companies are doing in large numbers of cases. Is that amazing? And annoying.
Can you say that again? There was a huge truck going by.
Huge.
You said they can.
Just a FedEx
You said they
truck,
can.
Carolyn.
I know it is noisy. They can
Okay.
do what? They can
Okay.
delay you what?
Okay. If you say to your insurance company, if your you have $200,000 in damage, your insurance company says they're only giving you $40,000 in flood insurance. After 1 year, you can't sue them. So what the insurance company does is stretch it out, and once they know you can't sue them, they're home free, and the poor homeowner is stuck. Plain and simple. And so what we are saying, very simply, is that FEMA should change the deadline to be a year after the final claim is issued. And then you'd have time to go sue them. But more importantly than that, they don't want to go to court and sue. The insurance company would have the threat of a potential lawsuit over their head, and they would be more likely to negotiate a fair claim. These people aren't out to get more money than they deserve. They just want to get what they deserve. They got to rebuild their houses. And it doesn't just affect a handful of people. We estimate about 20,000 people here on Long Island, in Queens, and Staten Island are affected. All of those who had flood insurance. So we're saying to FEMA, plain and simple, change the rules, wait till the final denial of a claim occurs, and then they have a year to sue. That's what we're saying. FEMA should clarify the deadline so Sandy victims can finish negotiating their claims before the deadline for going to court expires. Okay? This is a win-win situation for our homeowners because they're in all likelihood going to get more money and they won't have to go to court. FEMA's policy on this statute of limitations is particularly puzzling because FEMA granted Sandy-affected households an extension until April 29th, 2014 to submit supporting documents, such as documents called proof of loss. Well, if they're giving an extension for these proof of loss documents, why aren't they giving an extension to the negotiation with the insurance companies? They haven't done it with the insurance companies, and we don't know why. And by the way, the denial of claim, which sets the clock ticking, is usually occurs on a report made by the insurance's own adjuster with no documentation. And we know what they've told the insurance adjusters to do, lowball. So it's really not fair. It's not fair to these people. What FEMA has done is create a situation where homeowners are still allowed to submit evidence, but not allowed to bring the lowball insurance company to court if the claim doesn't come back at an insurance amount. So they've said to you, you can submit more evidence after the deadline, but you can't go to court. Now what good is that? Plain and simple. So I have a lot of extensive details here, but I think I've made it very clear. Is that true? News media?
We're good.
Okay, good. Then I will not read all this complicated stuff. Am I leaving anything out, Kyle? No. Good. Okay. So we're now going to call on anyone else to speak? Okay.
Touro.
Ben Rajotte from Touro would like to speak, and he's been helping these folks out. John, what if I did this, Ben?
Touro Law Center has been on the front lines of these issues since 3 days after the storm, helping households like Rena over here. In her case, her house is gone. It was a total loss. Now, if you just look at her example for what Senator Schumer was discussing, the insurer literally, quote, closed her file after it issued her a denial on one controversial aspect of her claim in early January 2013, after paying her only 1/4 for the total loss of her property of what she was claiming. She had a policy for $260,000, and she received about 25% of that claim. Rena didn't know. After she received the letter that said, quote, your claim is closed, here is your check, this is all we're going to give you, that she had any rights with her insurance company. Now, she's now working with David Charles from Master Claim Consultants to help her supplement her claim fully and fairly, the way it should have been processed from the start. She has extensive loss, and she needs time to reconstruct those losses and present it to FEMA and present it to her flood insurer. That's the precise reason why FEMA extended the deadline for presenting claims to 18 months after the date.
And by the way, we
loss.
pressured them to do that. So there is hope here, because they weren't going to extend the deadline for submitting this proof, and they did. And that's why we're hopeful they'll extend this deadline as well. Sorry.
With Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand's support and members of bipartisan panel of the House, FEMA said we will extend that deadline for presenting your claims to a total of 18 months after the date of loss. It was unprecedented. And it was unprecedented because Sandy itself was unprecedented, caused catastrophic and widespread loss, resulting in extensive property damage that takes time to fully document, especially when you have a rapid claims handling process and insurers paying out based only on their own hired insurance adjuster's report. But here's the rub. Rena has a denial on one aspect of her claim. The denial is around the same time she received her check for 1/4 of what she's due. Her house is gone. She got a check that totals a little bit more than $60,000. Okay? Total loss. She got that check and the quote denial on January 17th. FEMA says now, under its current interpretation, that she doesn't have until April 29, 2014 to fully present her claim. She doesn't have the full benefit of her right to indemnification that Senator Schumer fought so hard for. She only has until January 16th, right around the corner of 2014. She doesn't have until April. And she didn't know that. If she had gone until April to fully present her claim, she would have been completely divested, according to FEMA, of her right to sue when the insurer denied her for the other 3/4 of her property loss. And moreover, not only did she not have until late April 2014 to present her claim, she now has to present, if she does want to sue, she has to get all of her documents in order and file suit on or before January 16th, 2014, 1 year from her denial letter. In other words, that time to sue completely undercuts and accelerates the time that she has to present her claim. It inverts the process completely. So this isn't about money. And it shouldn't be about tricky, unknown deadlines. And we know that that's not what FEMA intended this to be about. Everybody knows this is about people's homes. This is about the memories that they kept in those homes. And this is about rebuilding their lives. And so at Touro Law Center, we are inspired by the perseverance of every single household that we help to get the full payment that they're due. So here's what needs to be done, as Senator Schumer said. The 1-year deadline to file suit. The 1-year deadline to file suit. The whole question is, when does that 1 year start from? FEMA has already said it's inextricably linked to the process for fully presenting a claim, and it has extended that process until April 29, 2014. FEMA extended that process in order precisely to protect households like Rena, who have extensive loss and need time to document that claim, and may need until April 2014 to do so. We commend FEMA for that extension, and now we only ask that households be truly given the full 18 months in order to present their claims for indemnification required under the Act that FEMA has already granted. And specifically, that FEMA clarify something that is already present here in Sandy claims, which FEMA had to extend the deadline to present claims beyond any period in the past. The 18 months, that FEMA clarified that 1 year deadline to file suit starts from the insurer's decision on the last timely filed proof of loss filed within FEMA's 18-month extended deadline. And that is necessary to achieve the goal of the extension for this extraordinary storm event and these catastrophic losses, for which FEMA already created that extended claims handling process in the first place. necessary to give people time in order to rebuild their lives. And so on this 1-year anniversary, it's time to reflect on ways that we can work together to ensure that households like Rena and like Anna and like Bill have appropriate time to rebuild, and so that they're not defined by this disaster, and so that they're not called Sandy victims, but Sandy survivors. And we think this clarification is not only called for under the policy and under the proof of loss extension, but that as a practical matter, it will keep thousands of victims, thousands of survivors now, out of the federal court process, and that this is an important, critical step in being able to work together to find common solutions to these problems. So thank you, Senator.
Thank you. And I just want to clarify, we want the 1 year to start after the final claim is given, not any sooner. So that'll give them a whole year after that happens. And that's what they need, and that's what will bring the insurance companies to justice. We've seen so many examples of the insurance companies cutting corners. And the only thing hanging over their head is the threat of going to court. That's why this is so important. Okay?
You got to keep the pressure.
You bet. Do you want to say anything, any of you three? You don't have to, but you can. I think you might. Come on.
Well,
She's
I would like to thank everybody for helping us as homeowners. Ben Rajotte, Mr. Schumer, and his staff have done a great job in helping us out, especially the Touro law students that have been fabulous. You know, they've come from all across the United States to help Ben and his the schooling there. But as residents of Long Beach and Island Park, the insurance company have not done us any justice. Like you see, she's been out of our home for a year. I'm still living in an apartment. I'm not living in a trailer for another year. My house was a ranch also. And I just need help from insurance company to pay what is due. You know, for the homeowners, not $40,000 to rebuild a home, where you have insurance of up to $265,000, and in my case, 201. I'm only asking for 180. I lost everything in my home, furniture and everything. I didn't have contents like most of us didn't have. I just want that the insurance company understand that we only have a few days, you know, to file for a lawsuit, and I believe that they have done this purposely. And a lot of homeowners that do live in Long Beach and Island Park are elderly. They don't have access to computers, and they have no one helping them out. And so a lot of these people are just taking their $20,000 and doing whatever they can do to their homes and not rebuilding, and half of them are moving out, unfortunately. And we don't want this happening to our communities, because this is a great place to live. Our taxes are high, but this is the best, great community. You're 5 seconds from the Long Island Railroad. We have beautiful beaches. We have tournaments here, and I don't want this community to go to nothing like every other community.
my faith in you was well founded, Anne. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, we'll take questions on this subject and on others.
Senator, how quickly can we potentially see change? I mean, this is
Well,
something
FEMA can do this administratively. You don't need legislation. When I asked them to extend the deadline on when you could submit evidence, they did. Hopefully they'll do this. But it is a catch-22, and you cannot trust these insurance adjusters, even though they're working with federal dollars.
Do they say it's under consideration?
They have said that they're thinking about it, and so we're going to give them a push. They haven't said yes.
Does it set a precedent for future claims, future storms?
I think it should. I think that it makes no sense to say the deadline closes before they tell you what their final offer is to you. So I'd hope they'd extend it for everybody, but certainly we're just asking for Sandy. When they did the 6-month extension as to when you could submit evidence, that was just for Sandy.
And the 60,000 number that you said was Long Island people Long Islanders who have submitted FEMA flood insurance
correct.
claims, and 20%.
We estimate about 30%, 20,000 fit in this category.
What are you basing that on?
But 20,000 received less than theirs
We'll get you
due.
the details of what we're basing that on. It's based on, talking to a whole variety of people, but I'll get you the details as to where it
So
comes
that's
from.
just Long Island, or are we talking
That's
about
New York City. New York State, sorry. That is Staten Island, Queens, Long Island. Most of it is Long Island. Long Beach is the place that has the most concentration.
And I'm sorry,
But Bill is from Babylon, way out in Suffolk County, and Anna's from Island Park.
It's right on the other side of the Long Beach Bridge.
And what did the 20,000 refer to? People who
20,000
are approaching
people
the deadline?
Are approaching the deadline.
it.
That is correct.
And
Okay?
Mr.
Great.
Schumer, can I say something?
Yes.
I know you very well. My husband's a teacher, and you always said hello to him. Why did they deface my home? I have a real estate license, and they came from Alabama and tell me I'm getting $125,000, and they cut me in half to 47. Put in new windows, man. Put in everything,
Right.
and we got 40,000.
As I said, the insurance adjusters, they work. The whole scheme of flood insurance is a mess. And they let the private adjusters do it, and they actually have an incentive to undercut you, not get you the highest amount.
Well, of course.
So if you, Kyle, what's your name?
Abby Sentnor.
Right, I know who you are.
You know my
Yes, I
husband
know-
Robert.
I know your
Okay,
husband.
at PS
Yes.
2:30. I'm always on air all the time because I can't.
Here, take Kyle's card, and we will go to bat.
We're based in Long Island.
Okay, good.
I'm over in
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
So if you
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. I thank our folks here for bearing witness, and I thank Touro for doing the great job.
Great job.
Thank you.